Hi, this is Yukamin. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to share something I've deeply realized through my own life experience. It's not based on science or external evidence, but on personal insights I've gathered from observing how this universe works. Please take it as one perspective, and feel free to see what resonates with your own heart. I believe the reality we see exists to help us become aware of who we truly are, though. But ironically, we often understand ourselves the least. It's only when we interact with others or face challenging situations that we begin to notice what we've been carrying inside. A conversation might reveal a hidden desire, a conflict might expose an old wound. We come to know ourselves through these reflections. But here's the thing, no matter how much you try to analyze yourself alone, some beliefs stay hidden until they're mirrored back to you. Let me give you a personal example. In the past, I found myself in deep debt, over 10 million yen. I told myself, I'll never borrow money again. But life brought me debt again and again. Why? Eventually, I realized something powerful. Even though I said I didn't want debt, part of me was still rejecting the version of myself who had it. I believed debt meant I was weak, irresponsible, or shameful. So even when I tried to run from it, my reality brought it back because I hadn't accepted that part of me. This universe doesn't respond to what we reject. It responds to what we accept. Until I could accept myself with debt, the pattern continued. I also noticed that I linked debt to something negative. But when I started listening to entrepreneurs, I realized many of them had borrowed money to grow. They weren't ashamed. They saw it as a tool. One person told me, "You don't have to rush. Just pay it back steadily. Debt doesn't make you a bad person." That shifted everything for me. I rewrote the belief, it's okay to have debt. And when I stopped rejecting that version of me, I no longer needed the experience to repeat. My debt began to shrink, and the debt pattern disappeared. Another repeating pattern I had was with difficult people, especially strong, intimidating women in the workplace. No matter where I worked, I always attracted the same type of person. Even when I started my own yoga studio, I met a client who brought up the same dynamic. What I realized was this. I had a deep belief that I needed to be perfect, that making mistakes meant I wasn't good enough, that being flawed made me unworthy, so I kept attracting people who triggered those beliefs until I faced them. To explain this, I like to use the cheese metaphor. Imagine we are like Swiss cheese with holes. These holes represent the parts of ourselves we've denied, rejected, or don't see. The universe always moves us toward wholeness and love, so it brings situations and people to help us fill those holes. When we're born, we're whole, no holes. But as we grow, we take on shame, fear, and self-judgment. The holes begin to form, and life mirrors them back to us. That's why certain situations repeat, so we can finally notice the holes and heal. So, if you find yourself thinking, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I always meet the same kind of person? Why can't I break this cycle? Look inward. What part of you are you rejecting? What belief are you still holding on to? When I realized that my reality was a mirror, everything changed. I stopped blaming the outside world and started asking, what is this showing me about myself? And every time I did, I discovered something I hadn't fully accepted. Let's say you have a dream, a goal you want to reach. As soon as you start pursuing it, life brings up resistance. Maybe someone criticizes you or something blocks your progress. But what if that challenge isn't a punishment? What if it's your own soul saying, here's the part of you that needs healing before you can move forward? The universe isn't trying to stop you. It's trying to help you become the version of yourself who can actually receive what you desire. In my case, debt and difficult people weren't enemies, they were messengers. They showed me the parts of myself I didn't want to look at, so I could finally embrace them and become whole again. And that's what I believe this world is, a giant mirror built on love, helping us remember who we really are. You're not being punished, you're being guided toward love, wholeness, and your truest self. So next time something painful happens, try asking, what am I being invited to see right now? What hole in my heart is ready to be filled? Because once you see it, the pattern doesn't need to repeat anymore. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, let it sit in your heart and unfold naturally. This world is always supporting your return to love.